Welcome to another episode of Big Local Live, Tarek's Community Podcast. And today I'm joined by Matthew. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Tarek. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm a big fan of tennis. I just saw your video, and could you tell us a bit about what you're doing, like with the tennis side?
Yeah. So I'm from Bishop Auckland Table Tennis Club. So we offer table tennis to all of the community. We see it as a fantastic sport to break down many barriers, get people talking, get people active, bringing different parts of the community together with a shared interest. And for me, one of the best things about table tennis is it is so inclusive. We've got England internationals playing with people that have just walked in off the street with the jeans and the baseball caps. And for me, it's a unique sport that you can bring everybody together.
So before I ask you, how did this come about? Before I ask you, loads of detail about how did this come about?
It came about rather uniquely, really. I moved up to Bishop Auckland in 2011, and I was traveling about 45, nearly 50 minutes to play and practice myself. When I had an injury, and the sports centre school that we're based at advertised that they were trying to get some table tennis going. So I popped down just to have a look and maybe give a bit of coaching, a bit of practice myself, getting back from injury. And I coached a couple of the kids from the school who were there. And then next thing, I had one of the deputy heads from the school phoning me up saying the kids had been ranting and raving about how good I was and a brilliant coach, and so just expanding my own head here, and basically said, would I be interested in sort of taking it further and working in partnership to develop a community club? And then since then, it's just snowballed really, and we're now sort of delivering to over 350 people a week from school sessions, primary school, secondary schools, disabilities, over 50s. We've got players on performance pathways, so a large spectrum of people.
Yeah, it sounds very amazing. I tell you, my relative is a tennis coach.
Sorry, say that again?
He's a tennis coach, my relative.
Oh, right, okay.
So I got trained with tennis.
Uh-huh.
Trust me, I'm really bad. No, the hardest, it's not that I'm really bad. The hardest thing for me is basically, holding the racket and controlling the wheelchair at the same time.
Yes.
That's. It's not that I'm really bad. It's just I'm good at hitting it. It's just getting it to the right.
Yes.
Point.
Yeah. A lot to think about, obviously. Definitely.
Yeah. So, what are the challenges with this tennis group that you have?
So obviously we're in a big local group, which is a very high multiple deprivation area. We have a lot of antisocial behaviour, which I know there's a lot of good work going on towards that. We have a lot of health deficiencies as well, a lot of people who are obese and don't necessarily get access to health and activity, or more likely it's the budget to be able to spend on health activities and things like that. So we know that the financial income into the area as well is limited, so people aren't on particularly fantastic jobs, and unemployment and things like that. So in terms of the area itself, that's some of the issues that we hope to be trying to tackle by making it affordable, by giving the opportunities to progress through the different opportunities. So not just as a player, but we also offer coaching pathways. We also offer umpiring qualifications through Table Tennis England. But to be honest, like most minority sports, it's actually just getting publicity. Table tennis has still got this stigma of an old man's game in the village hall, church hall, with about 4 or 5 people just patting the ball back and forth. But it's a very fast, it's an Olympic sport, has been for many years. And actually just getting it out to some of the people to see what it's all about. And we've just, thanks to Gunner's Gateway Big Local, we've just given out 100 indoor ping pong packs to allow families and people to play table tennis safely in their own house during the pandemic, and then hopefully get them active a little bit, even if it's just in the house, and maybe feed them into the club if they want to do a little bit more table tennis in the future.
only do table tennis, or do you do other stuff as well to train before you actually play the games?
Yeah, so we do. It's all basically around table tennis. That's the main sort of vehicle, if you will, that we do. But a lot of it we build around sort of developing young and old people in terms of their communication skills, their understanding, but also giving them opportunities to access other things within the community.
Oh, so I'm very intrigued to know. You say they're accessible for, for wheelchairs, the games and stuff. What do you actually mean by accessible? Because I know table tennis is sometimes really difficult for wheelchairs to move about and, by themselves. What do you mean by accessible? Does the tables go up and down, or?
What we've got is different adaptations we can use. So if somebody's a little bit more physically impaired, then we can do something called polybat, which is basically almost like air hockey. You put it's on the sides of the table, and the ball goes back and forth. There's no net, and then we can use different sized balls as well if we put the net back on. But we did a facility upgrade in 2016, I think it was, where we made sure that actually rather than putting steps down to the new hall, it was all ramps. We made sure that the toilet was a disabled friendly toilet, etc. So it's a larger cubicle and room for the care if necessary. Everything's all on the same level except the ramp going in. Then we also bought wheelchair friendly tables. Some tables you can buy have a bar across, which makes them unusable for some wheelchair players.
Oh, that was the building that wanted me. Yeah, it's very intriguing to know, about this tennis, because I've tried tennis, normal tennis. It's actually really difficult. I wonder if I take one of your tricks, it might be easy. So if I was to play a game against Taz, or Taz plays against me, I wonder who will win.
One of the wonderful things about table tennis in that regard as well is if you as a wheelchair user play a standing able-bodied player, we have to play by wheelchair rules. So we're not allowed to serve off the sides, and we're not allowed to serve short with the ball coming back to us. It has to come to you a little bit. So we have to we have to play by the wheelchair rules.
Yeah, I want to find out about how in terms of the game, but like before you play the game, what are some tips, like how to train people? Like if disabled people want to play like table tennis in the future, what are some tips that you may can give?
Okay, to be honest, a lot of it is hand-eye coordination. So what we've done over lockdown as well is we produced some videos for whoever wants to access them about things you can do around the house. So, for instance, something like a pair of socks, make a little ball of a DVD case or a frying pan or something like that, so you can practice some racket skills at home. Just getting the idea of sort of how a ball would bounce and sort of the coordination of your hand to keep that ball going, or socks in that case.
You're basically saying put a ball on a frying pan and just flip it up.
Yeah, why not?
I think Taz might try that. So, have you been watching some of the tennis, like Wimbledon?
Yes.
You're a big fan of it?
Yes, table tennis is my main sport, but I do like lots of sports, including tennis.
I've actually visited Wimbledon before, and I went on the tour. It's actually amazing. I think you took all my questions. I'm just thinking of what I was asking. Yeah, so you mentioned about the challenges. How, when you ran a few classes, do you think people are actually learning from it? Do they think it's, how can I say this, benefit them? Do you think it's
absolutely? Yeah, I mean, we've got a really, really good membership retention rate. The sport itself has an issue 18 plus, as a lot of sports do. But I think we're very, very good at retaining our members because we offer them something that they can see the progress in. They can feel themselves improving. They can see themselves moving into different teams if that's something they're interested in. But quite a lot of our players just enjoy the social, coming along, having a game, having a chat, and so it just gives them a chance to maybe get something off the chest if they want to talk about that, or just see some friends and have a drink and have a hit around with the ball. I think for us, that's very much offering something for everybody in order to keep them coming back. They might not be interested in going and playing competitively in our local league or national league or whatever it may be, but some players have been coming for, well, since we started eight years ago. We've still got some of our very, very, very original members that have stayed members for 8 years now.
Very interesting. I want to join your group actually. So if people say about that, because we mentioned that, how can people join?
People can join, but absolutely we are open to everybody and anybody. We usually say sort of 6+, so they've got some coordination skills there, so it's not a negative experience. But we're currently working with a 4-year-old who's showing great potential. But all they need to do is find our website, our social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think that's all of them. And basically just drop us a message and we'll give them the information, because with our new COVID rules, we can't just have people no longer dropping in. We have to take sort of bookings. So we can give you the information on how to book on our
thing you
online
mentioned
system.
about the COVID, because I wanted to ask you, what are you doing at the moment with this situation?
We're very fortunate. We just reopened. We're just in our 2nd week of reopening. We've had to move facilities to a bigger place, which has reduced our activities slightly. But in our current facility, we can get 10 tables in to meet the regulation court sizes, to make sure there's enough social distancing and enough corridors. It's just with the new regulations, we have to take, as I say, pre-bookings. We have to wash the balls regularly, provide lots of sanitizer. We have to clean the tables after every change of partner. So there's a lot more sort of work in terms of running the sessions, but to be honest, to get people back playing and back active and sort of, towards normality, improving people's physical and mental health, it's definitely worth the extra little work on the volunteers.
So are you getting, more people now, or do you, because of this virus, or less people than before?
We're definitely a little bit less than before, which for me is completely understandable. We've got a lot of over 50s that are sort of potentially still personally shielding or reducing their activity outside, which I can completely understand. And also with it being the summer holidays, so some of our junior players wouldn't necessarily have the same structure that would see them come to the session on an evening. What we've got is a very good core group of our sort of really, really keen juniors and some keen who aren't juniors but university age that are very, very keen to practice and want to make up the missed hours. So we're doing a lot with them sort of during the daytimes at the minute. And then we are sort of slowly trying to increase our community groups, our community users on an evening, as people start to feel more and more confident about coming back out and safe. And I can completely understand that people will be a little bit more reluctant to come into a scenario and setting that's only just been allowed to reopen.
What I'm interested to know about, I got it now, I just had it in my head. What I'm interested to know about, can you give us, maybe, I'm not saying play tennis right now, but maybe give us some tips of ideas of people if they want to train at home, or something they can do to train if they really like tennis.
Okay, so there's a couple of things you can do. I say if you have got access to a bat and ball, that might not necessarily be a table tennis or a tennis racket, or if you've got something like a frying pan and a ball, a tennis ball, a table tennis ball. I wouldn't recommend a marble. I have seen somebody try and it caused a lot of accidents, but something round, maybe a sponge ball, pair of socks. You can do some, just trying to keep it up on, and maybe flip it over, maybe use the edge. You can use a wall and off. You can do something called shadow play, where you actually practice the shots, just thinking about, practice playing them without actually using a bat or a ball at the table. Something for your muscle memory. And of course, you can do things like skipping if you're able to, and other arm exercises. Lots and lots of different activities.
Have you ever thought of doing Zoom sessions like these?
No, not something for us. We very much sort of try and use the table tennis element as the hooking part, which is what most of our players come to do. Our performance players, we do a lot of fitness stuff with them. But for us, I think if people wanted to do that sort of gym type of stuff, they'd maybe go to a class about that. Whereas for us, obviously, they maybe want the table tennis element a little bit more. So we try and focus around using the table tennis table.
Yeah, I think I'll probably lose if I play against Taz, but when this lockdown finishes, I'll be coming, and then we'll play Gimme and Taz.
Fantastic. You're more than welcome anytime.
We'll see how it goes. Do you mind, you mentioned about, the links. Do you mind if we put them at the bottom of the video?
That'd be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, more than happy for that.
Is there anything else you want to mention before we play the fun game? Like encouraging people about...
I think the only thing we'd have to say is sort of that we are looking to, at the minute, moving forward with a project to build a full-time table tennis centre in Bishop Auckland. It'd be an 18-table practice facility with world-class standards. So it would have an Olympic flooring, same as our current venue, and good lighting, but also be very much a community hub. So we can look to do food projects in there and run maybe a little book exchange and offer a community room for other groups to come in and have meetings or whatever it may be. So that's something that the big locals help massively with. And we've just put out a feasibility study from them. But yeah, that's it pretty much.
Yeah. One thing I just thought of while asking you, how do you think this sport will benefit people in terms of health?
Massively, absolutely massively. Table tennis is really, really good, both in terms of physical fitness, but also mental fitness and mental well-being. There's a lot of research that's gone into Alzheimer's and dementia and the benefits of table tennis for that. But also with from a physical point of view, it can be very low impact. So if you have got sort of a low starting fitness level, then you can play and you don't realise how hard you're working because it's quite low impact, but you're just constantly moving. And then as you progress, you can start to see the dynamicness of it and actually a little bit more, dynamic really. You can see that you're putting a lot more physical effort in. But even just to come as a complete beginner, just hitting the ball and picking the ball up and playing and just lots of gentle movements, you soon find you've got a sweat and you're dropping the pounds.
It's been very interesting to hear about this group. Is there anything else you want to mention before we go into the game?
No, I don't think so. I think that's about it.
So that's it. That's everything you want to mention. So we'll do now, if my computer lets me, a quick fire round. So say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Pasta or noodles?
Pasta.
I thought you would say pizza. Pizza or burger?
Sorry, say that again?
Pizza or burgers?
Oh, pizza.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Germany or Italy?
Italy. Love Italian food.
Nadal or Federer?
Sorry?
Federer. You know the player, Federer?
Oh, yeah, Federer. I love the coolness, calmness.
I can't believe he lost Federer last time in the tennis. Shocking. Because he always wins. Zoom or Skype?
Zoom.
Netflix or BBC iPlayer?
Or Netflix.
I'm trying to figure out where I am. eBay or Amazon?
Amazon.
Lions or elephants?
Oh, elephants.
Are you sure?
Yeah, don't know why, but elephants.
Normally, tennis players like, hit the racket so lines are. Spring or summer?
Oh, spring, I think. I don't know why.
And clay or glass?
Grass.
Glass, not glass. What am I on about? US Open or Wimbledon?
Wimbledon every day.
Yeah, because I don't know much about the US really, but Wimbledon is like the big thing.
Absolutely.
Football or basketball?
Football.
And finally, running or walking?
Running. I got into running quite a lot with my dipping table tennis, so running.
Yeah. So that's all the round. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting some hard ones.
Yeah. So I went to Wimbledon. It's like the best thing I ever done. The tour was amazing. So I got to go in, literally inside the interview room.
Mm-hmm.
I got to sit in centre court, which was fun, and I got to tell them, I almost got to go on the field, but luckily they didn't let me. So yeah, so do you have anything to say about the classes? And by the way, how often do you hold them?
We run multiple sessions every week. So at the moment, coming back, we have to run with the COVID regulations. We're on like a limited timetable. So we run 3 days a week, but that's 2 junior coaching sessions and 2 adult coaching sessions and a women and girls session. But usually when we're in our normal facility, running our full timetable, it's every night of the week.
Very interesting, because I'm coming.
Good, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so thank you for joining me today.
No problems at all. Thanks for having me.
You don't have anything else to say to encourage people, like to do a tennis game? One last word? Or?
I think everybody should come along. It's a sport that everybody's at least had one go at, sort of even on holiday or whatever, but give it another go. Go to your local club, look online. There's loads and loads of things you can do both at home for fun table tennis, but also there are some fantastic fun clubs out there. It's not all about being the best player in the world, but you can just go along. It's very, very sociable, lots and lots of health benefits. And yeah, I think for me, it's the best sport in the world.
So where do you hold yours? I don't know if I asked you.
So we're usually at Bishop Barrington School. We're currently at Whitworth Park in Spennymoor for the summer, and then we'll be back to Bishop Auckland, Bishop Barrington School.
Okay, so thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Tarek's Community Podcast, Big Local Live. I'm your host, Tarek Mrad, and goodbye.